think the term paludiculture has not been mentioned too often so far, but I think it's very important to talk about it now. And I was asked to reflect a bit on the situation again in Europe, and I can only confirm what Taike Hen just said, that we cannot teach, especially the Global South, how to deal with peatlands, very much only how to do not things. And but I think there's something interesting now emerging. We are very active now in developing new approaches to use wet peatlands for agriculture or forestry. And this is basically what paludiculture is about. It's a kind of artificial term from palus for swamp in Latin and culture. And I mean, here in Europe, the situation is really grave. I mean, we have some 50% of our peatlands drained in the European Union. In Germany, it's more than 90% still. And what is also interesting, if you look only at the agricultural land, the proportion of agricultural land that is peatland is only 3% in the European Union. So it's a kind of marginal part of the entire agricultural land. But these lands contribute 25% of the total greenhouse gas emissions attributed to agriculture. So you can see it as a potential as well. It's a problem, but it's also a chance to reduce emissions massively for this sector. And more farmers and people working for agricultural organizations do understand this, that this is really also a big potential. And I mean, then paludiculture, like the red line, the criterion is really that the peat is preserved. This is the most important aspect of paludiculture. You can do anything on the land as long as it's wet and the peat is preserved. And there are some traditional examples. So it is a kind of new term. It was actually invented by my colleague Hans Josten 25 years ago in Greifswald in Northeast Germany, and we will celebrate the 25th anniversary next week of this term. But you may know that in Europe you have a lot of houses with thatched roofs made from reed, and this is something that is traditional. And so what I wanted to mention here is that we have really lots of new products that come up actually from paludiculture. And this is something I received yesterday in Berlin at Woche der Umwelt. This is made from reed canary grass. So it's a paludiculture plant. This back here. A nice example is actually, it's like a Christmas bag here now, falling down. That would be kind. And maybe you see this here. This is cross sections of cattail, a typical peatland and paludiculture plant. And you see a lot of air-filled cells in it. And this is something that makes it very special and very suitable for building material. The fashion industry is also discovering paludiculture. That's not maybe most fashionable, but it is something you can do something from it, a jacket, for example. And it's filled with a seed wool of cattail, again, this plant. And maybe two more things, and then I stop. These are straws from reed. I mean, we also need to shift to plastic-free straws. That is very nice. And this is something I like especially very much. These are the so-called maca pads from Uganda, actually. Jan Peters brought them here from the collaboration in Uganda. And these are sanitary pads that actually also help girls to go to school there. And it's from the social entrepreneurship in Uganda. So there's lots of possibilities. And we have now an exciting stage in Germany because now the government is really funding large-scale projects on paludiculture, some 5,000 hectares, both our Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, and we do a lot of coordinated research to better understand these new agricultural systems. Mine.